What's up guys, Nora here and welcome to Book of Showtime chapter 46. As always, if you guys enjoy these videos, be sure to like and share with your friends, and if you have a topic you'd like me to cover for Book of Showtime, be sure to leave it in the comment section down below, or anywhere you reach me on social media or the Book of Showtime Discord. So with Like a Dragon Gaiden, the man who erased his name, say that 5 times fast, with that game dropping in a couple of days, I figured, it's time for a Like a Dragon themed chapter. Like a Dragon, formerly known as Yakuza, is one of my all-time favorite series. It's right behind Call of Duty and Resident Evil, which is crazy because I only started playing it back in September of 2019. I started with Kiwami, and I haven't looked back since. I managed to play through all the main games in time for Yakuza 7, which I said back in the anniversary chapter was the greatest RPG game I've ever played. So today we're back on Tier Maker, and I'll be ranking all of the Like a Dragon games, including the various spin-offs. So let me know what you guys think of this series, where you'd rank them, and let's get right into it. Okay, so we have the S tier, A tier, B plus tier, B tier, C tier, and the NA tier. And there's no D or F or C minus because I really don't feel like there's really no objectively bad games in this series, in the Yakuza series. So, let's get the NA out the way. It's funny, this guy has Like a Dragon Gaiden, which is not out, and Infinite Wealth, which is also not out here, but I can't, as much as I wanted preemptively, I can put them in the higher tiers, but no, I'm gonna leave them in the NA tier because they're not out as of recording. These are the PSP games. I haven't played those. I also have not finished Dead Souls. I played I think I played Akiyama's first chapter, and that's it. And I also haven't played the original ones. I was going to stream the first one way back in I don't even know, 2020, 2019, but I was having trouble getting it my PlayStation, or getting a controller to work properly for emulation. But yeah, I have not played any of these. I hope we get, they did HD ports for the Wii in Japan. Maybe one day we'll get those in the West. I think that'd be really cool. Alright, so we got the spin-off games first. Fist of North Star Lost Paradise was awesome, and I apologize to any Fist of North Star fans. All my Fist of the North Star knowledge is this game, memes, and the live action movie, which I'm sorry that is all I know, but I still was able to enjoy the heck out of this game. Now, one thing that's an issue with a lot of the boss fights in this game, or in this series, they're either somebody that's not believable, or somebody that you can beat because you played against them earlier in the game, and that was the problem with this game. That kind of held the game back for me, but otherwise, awesome game. I loved it. Inshin was just there, I played it. It wasn't terrible, but it's just, it's one of those games where I just kind of played through it, and then, yeah, I moved on. I didn't really care much for a lot of the side content, and a lot of the game in general. I don't know, I just didn't click with this game, but it was still solid. It was still a solid game. Judgment is B+. I thought it was great, but the problem with Judgment is if you play it on PS4, there's this weird, dial-in delay on the combat, which was strange because none of the other games had it. I don't know if this was by design because they wanted it to be different from, the other Yakuza games, but they fixed it in the remaster a little bit because at 60 frames there's less of a delay, but man, it was rough. I played one fight on PS4, I was like, oh, this is not it. And then a couple weeks later, they're like, hey, remaster's coming. I was like, okay, cool, I could just wait then. And that helped out. And the Judgment was awesome, man. I love all the characters. Yagami's awesome. I just love seeing, Kamurocho in a different, light, and his connection with the city. That was one thing they didn't bring back in Lost Judgment, which is why Lost Judgment's only going to be in the B+, but they didn't bring back, the friend system, because I was kind of rushing through Judgment just to make sure I was ready in time for Lost Judgment. So I didn't do too much of the friend system and a lot of the side stuff, but I wish they had that friend system in Lost Judgment. They didn't have that, and I also feel like the detective work you do as Yagami takes a step back. And also the school system, which, some of these later Yakuza games, they have a side campaign. And the school stories, I felt like a lot of them were just kind of there to fill it out. Game Club was just, you play Virtual Fighter for 5 matches. The girl bar was just kind of after 2 or 3 conversations, it was just recycled dialogue options. It was just something that I felt like could have been fleshed out more, but it was a great idea though. And I think the other things that the skateboarding, the motorcycle club, and robotics, all that stuff was really cool, but some of the other stuff was clearly phoned in. Also, I felt like the plot of Lost Judgment was I felt like they stretched it. They really stretched it to make it this deep conspiracy, but I don't know. I felt like they were reaching a lot with how far they wanted to take the concept. I'm not going to spoil it because the games are very rooted in their story, but I just feel like they stretched it a little too much. I don't know. It just seems a little ridiculous at times. But these are both fantastic games. Yakuza 0, I really enjoyed it. I like, the thing is, I wish I played 0 before Kiwami, because going back to play 0 after playing Kiwami was a little weird. So if you haven't played this series yet, play 0 before Kiwami. But yeah, 0 was awesome, and just I think a lot of the characters were great. Kuze was awesome. The music was awesome. The 80s aesthetic, all that stuff. 80s Japan, that was awesome. That was a great game to play through. Kiwami and Kiwami 2, both S tier for me, both fantastic games. I first played, like I said, I first got into the series back in September 2019. I remember playing this for the first time. This was an amazing game, an amazing story, iconic moments. There was only like one bad boss, but otherwise the game was just great. And that's a game I want to 100%, but that is such a tall task. I'm too stupid to do Mahjong, and there's a lot of collectibles, but otherwise, all the content in this game rocks. As for Kiwami 2, just a great game. Combat was awesome. The Cabaret Club and the Clan Creator stuff, that was fantastic too. A lot of the sub-stories were awesome. The story itself was great. They messed up the boss fight though, because I think Goda was a really great boss. I think these are only 2 games with like really good bosses. Final bosses, I should say. But the thing is, right before you fight the final boss, there's a guy, like an arms dealer. He sells some broken weapons, and that just made the final boss easy. So if you want a challenge, maybe don't buy any of those weapons. So Yakuza 3, I'm gonna put in the C tier. It was, I knew it was gonna be rough going from playing the Kiwami games and 0 back to like the 3, 4, and 5. But 3, I think, was the worst out of all of them. I feel like there's a lot of filler. I feel like the combat's a little icky at times, and there's also a general consensus amongst the community that 3 should have been Kiwami 3 as opposed to a remaster, and they could still remaster it, because if you think about it, they pump out these games really quick. In February, we had Inshin. We're getting The Man Who Erased His Name in a couple of days, and then Infinite Wealth is in January. One of my friends is going through the series. I told him he can skip 3, and if you guys want, I say 3 is one definitely. If you want to go through the series, that if you want to really rush, you can skip 3. It's not like it's an objectively terrible game. I like a lot of the characters, and the story is pretty solid. But otherwise, it's alright. It's average. Yakuza 4 is B tier. I really like playing as all the characters. I thought it was really cool, and just kind of I talked about how Judgment, you're seeing it in a different light, seeing Kamurocho in a different light. This kind of has that as well, because you're seeing it as a couple of Yakuza members or guys. These guys are all kind of tied in with Yakuza, but they all kind of have their ways of how they go about it. You have 2 former Yakuza members, and you have Akiyama, the loan shark, and Masayoshi is the cop. Which I thought was interesting. I like everyone's fighting styles too. It was just a very interesting game, very solid game, good cast of characters. Yakuza 5, B tier as well. I think it's very good. Now I know I said to skip 3 if you really want to, but 5 is actually one that you can skip as well. It has about a 4-hour stretch where you have to basically go from playing Yakuza to playing Cabela's Hunt for 2 hours, and then from Cabela's Hunt to playing Hasune Miku. So if you don't want to deal with that for about 4 hours, then yeah, you can skip 5. But otherwise, and it's funny how I'm saying skip this. Shinada's arc in this game, this character that I'm trying to point out right here, his arc is probably the best arc in the entire series. And he goes from, because I wonder, I'm like, why would they make you play as this bum? But his story is awesome, and he has the best boss fight and the best boss fight music because of everything that builds up to it. It's like, yeah, this was awesome. Game has a lot of content though. Every character has their own city, and it's crazy. Song of Life, I think this was great. Just a great send-off. Well, at the time it was a great send-off for the character of Kiryu, but otherwise, combat fantastic, story fantastic, music fantastic. Final boss was, like most of the time, not good. Somebody who just wasn't a believable final boss. Sometimes the final boss in these games, it's not like the strong characters or the characters you have like a deep rivalry. It's just whoever's the mastermind of all of the conspiracies or plots or whatever's going on, all the misery of the game. Yakuza 6 was really good. I like that all the sub-stories had full dialogue options too. Or not full dialogue options, but full dialogue in general, just the characters talking as opposed to just text. So, I thought this was a really good game. They're all really good games. They're all great games, fantastic games. I love this series. And finally, Like a Dragon, Yakuza Like a Dragon, or Like a Dragon 7, S tier. I've said it back in the anniversary chapter, bar none, the best RPG game I've ever played. Might be one of the greatest of all times, and I'm not an I'm not a JRPG guy, but this game, it's flawless. I think it executes everything right. how you go about combat, the job systems, the characters moving around, interacting with the environment. It's just so different. Even the grinding is fun, and I hate grinding. That's the one thing that steers me away from JRPGs, is the grinding. And this game, you know, it's so fantastic. Everything, the characters, story, the mini games. This is almost like I think it's a flawless game. Truth be told, it's a flawless game. All right, and that's basically my tier list. Now, at some point in the future, once I finish Gaiden, and then once I finish Infinite Wealth, I'll come back and say, you know, where I would put them. But otherwise, yeah, this is it, you know. I hope we get more Judgment games because they're good, and I hope Fist of the North Star escapes PlayStation purgatory and people on Xbox and PC can play it, because it's a great game. But all of these are fantastic. If you haven't played this series, I recommend it. It's one of my, like I said, it's literally right up there with Resident Evil and Call of Duty at this point, which is just, you know, insane, because those games have been around for a long time, and I've been playing them for a long time as well. I know Yakuza's been around for a while, but I only got into it in 2019, which is what feels like a lifetime ago, 2019, where everything that's happened the last few years. But you know, in just such a short time, this series has kind of like moved itself into my heart as one of my favorites. So try it out. I love this series, man. Alright, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Let me know down below what your favorite Yakuza or Like a Dragon game is. Inshallah, I will see you in the next chapter.